Hi coders, welcome to the last day of our microbit classes. I'm sure you've been looking forward to this one, especially this lesson, because this is the wiretap game one where you actually get to use the Play-Doh that you were given and the alligator clips, the two sets of alligator clips and the wires. So if you don't have those materials with you right now, pause the video and go get them so that we can have them ready to go. The coding part is so simple. This is going to be a lot of fun. So let's log in to our microbit website. And it is, remember, makecode.microbit.org. And let's click on a new project. And we're going to create a game with circuits, okay? So the first thing that we're going to do is get started with deleting the forever loop right here and delete the on star block. And then we're gonna go into the center menu for input. Select input, and you're going to click and drag on button A pressed event block and put it in the GUI. And then go into the center menu again and go to variables. We're going to make a variable, and we're going to call this variable taps, T-A-P-S. So we want the microbit to recognize that every time the loop taps the obstacle course, because we're going to create a loop that's going to go up and around and over the other wires for the obstacle course, then our microbit will display how many taps total we have had on the wire. And when we hit the A button, our number of taps will reset to 0. So that's what we're coding right now, and we're going to start the game over again. Okay, so right now you need to select set taps to and drag that into the block. So now we have on button A pressed, set taps to 0. Go to click on your variables now again, and we're going to, actually not on the variables yet, we're going to go to basic, and we're going to go to show number 0. So click on that, and you're going to slide it underneath the set taps to 0. So we have set taps to 0, show number 0. And we're going to change this number 0 to taps. So every time there's a tap, so go to your variables, select taps, and drag it into that 0 spot. So now we have a coded block that when we press the A button, it'll set our taps back to 0. Okay, so the next part we need to code is how many times it taps the wire. So we're gonna, and they're called pins. So you're gonna click on input, and you're gonna go to the third block down, and it says on pin PO pressed. Select that, and then click on variables in the middle menu, and we're gonna select change taps by 1 right here. So every time it taps, we're gonna change the number from by 1. So it starts with 0, then it goes to 1, 2, 3. Okay. Now click basic, go into our basic. Now we have to say what number to show. So you're gonna show a number. So slide that down underneath the change taps by 1. So basically your coding blocks look very the same, very similar, but the difference is that one is when you press the button A and the other is when you put it on the pin 0. Okay, and we need to put this show number, we're going to code that as taps. So go to your variables again, select taps, and drag it to that 0 in the blue box. Okay, so on our simulation microbit, it should go up 1 number every time we click on the 0 pin area right here. This is the 0 pin. If you look where my cursor is, every time I click that, that means I've touched the wire, like my loop touched my wire. My wire loop touched the wire. And so it hit it one time. And then it hit it twice, 3, 4, 5. And then A clears it out. Okay, so those are basically the movements that our microbit needs coded. So let's save that. So go to the save section, and we're gonna title this, delete the untitled words. We're gonna title this wire tap game and save that. Okay. And then you're gonna download it into your microbit. Make sure your microbit is plugged in with this and not in the with the battery pack, remember, because you don't wanna fry your microbit. Make sure this is connected to your computer and then download it to your microbit. While that's downloading, you're gonna get your Play-Doh in just a minute. We'll do that so it doesn't dry out. You're gonna need your small wire, and this is what you're gonna make the loop with, okay? So I'm gonna stop sharing my screen. And so here's the wire, and you're gonna make a loop. So you're gonna loop it like that. You can tell I've already been practicing, because that's what we do, is we practice as teachers before we do things sometimes, and sometimes we don't, but most of the time we do. Okay, so you're gonna make your loop like about that, and then you just twist the wire. So I'm gonna preface this with, you can use different kinds and types and thicknesses of wire, just depends on what you have around the house. When I was experimenting with this, and I had called Mr. Jason Schellenberger, who's over this curriculum, this was not working for me. And so there's a couple of things that you may have to do as a scientist to figure out what are the variables that you need to change to make it work. Wire might be one of those variables. Another variable is your microbit. Maybe your microbit isn't working as well as it should be. Maybe another variable are the alligator clips that you were given. Maybe you need different alligator clips. So if you find that your microbit game isn't working like it should, never fear, become a scientist and figure it out and figure out what those variables might be. Okay, so what I'm telling you is I tried it multiple times and it wasn't working so well for me. And I called Mr. Schellenberger, and he even had a hard time working with it, but he had brought different wire, and then the wire wasn't working. So maybe we were thinking it was the alligator clips. See how we were doing process of elimination? That's what scientists do, you know, even with coding and programming. So you're gonna take your long wire, and this is your obstacle course. So you may wanna make it pretty easy at first, like maybe just a couple of up and downs like this, okay? Or you can make it really busy. You can do more loop-de-loops or up and down. You could try a loop-de-loop and not have it, so like that, not have it touch is what I was trying to say. Okay, but here's the bottom line is that you have to be able to touch the ground with your Play-Doh. So I'm gonna move the camera down like this, and we're gonna get out our Play-Doh. And my Play-Doh started drying out, so I had to put it back in, and it still isn't pretty good. So divide it in half, okay? And mush it up, make it into a ball, and you're gonna put one side in. And then before you put the Play-Doh in on the other side, get your loop, and you're gonna thread your loop through the wire. Okay, did you see that? This is how I did it. I just threaded the needle. Okay, that's basically what you're doing. And then I'm gonna put this other end down like this. Okay, and so what I'm finding is that I need a bigger workspace, and maybe you guys will need it, but since I have the camera, I want you guys to be able to see. Okay, so here's my obstacle course. Here's what we're gonna be doing, is moving this without touching the edges. Ooh, Ooh, the loop-de-loop thing is tricky. Okay, so there's that, but there's no micro bit connected, right? So this is where our alligator clips come in. So you're gonna get your micro bit. Take one, make sure your micro bit is not connected to anything quite yet, okay? You're gonna take one alligator clip and you're gonna connect it like this. If it works for you, that's great. Like this, it didn't really work for me like that. So I had to, and Jason told me to connect it, open those big and wide, through the hole like that. Do you see? See how it's kind of through the hole like that? Okay. So you really have to squeeze it and make sure it's got a good connection there. So that's at the 0. And then you're gonna take your other set. I really hope I gave you 2 sets. I can't remember, it's been so long. But I'm gonna open this up and have it go through the hole there. So this is our ground. You always have to have a ground when you're working with circuits and electricity, okay? Don't worry, it's not gonna zap you or anything. Okay, so next, get that out of the way. I'm going to connect my ground wire, okay? The ground wire is this one. So make sure you're holding that right now. The ground wire you're holding in your hand, and you're gonna connect, don't connect that one yet. Let's see, that's the other thing you could experiment with. Does it matter if I connect one wire first compared to the other wire? And make sure there's a good solid connection and it's actually gripping it. So the ground wire to the end of your obstacle course, you're gonna connect it. See that? Okay. Maybe I need to put it in my Play-Doh better too, so it doesn't move around on me. And then you get your other wire that's connected with the 0, and you're gonna connect this to your loop handle. Oh, I already came apart. Okay, so I'm gonna put it right here on my loop part, so that this is how I'm going to do it, is I'm just gonna guide it through my obstacle course like that. Okay, now I'm gonna put in the battery to my microbit and see if it responds. Okay, and so right now I have it at 0. So, okay, because I haven't touched anything. Oh, I touched the wire, it touched once. And so I'm gonna see if I can move through this obstacle course without touching the wire. I touched it, but see, my thing isn't really responding well. So maybe if I squeezed the alligator grip a little bit more, I'm gonna touch it again. See, now I'm at 2. Looks like a 5 to you guys, but go through my obstacle course and see if I can design even more difficult, trickier obstacle courses. So now I'm touching it on purpose, and my number still is not showing or changing. And that was the difficulty we were finding, is that it wasn't, the electrical current wasn't very strong. So he went to go figure out if it's the micro bit, is it the alligator clips? There's a disconnect there somewhere, because it really should respond quite quickly and easily. So, but this is the gist of the game. You can create other obstacle courses, use different kinds of wire, and just have fun playing with it. If anything, it's a good practice of having that good control of your muscles, as your fine motor muscles, as you are going through the obstacle course. So I hope that you enjoyed your time. I hope that you enjoy this activity. I hope it works for you. I apologize that I'm not there to manipulate with you, to figure things out, and that we can work together and get excited together about making things happen. That's the part I've missed the most with you guys. So I hope that you are safe and that you are well, and that you join me next time with our next coding class. I'm offering a summer class. It's going to be a lot of fun. So Stevens Coders, have a wonderful day, and I will see you next time. Bye.